What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tablebreakers. Tonight we are going to be talking about espionage and spying within the realm of TTRPG. So, how's everybody doing tonight? Bruce, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. I have to change my name back from Rudy, though. The other night we were over at Nick Weiser's talking about a movie called Bachelor Party.
Yeah.
And I apparently came off as Rudy from that movie, so I just changed my name to Rudy because we had a bunch of fun stuff to talk about. But I'm doing great. We got about another 10 days before I begin my new endeavor, so I really appreciate you guys continuing to keep the torch up. Shadow and Sun was in here talking about top secret videos. I'm pretty happy that he's got those out there. And then I spammed Good People Think Alike, which actually is just StreamYard fanning out all that information to people.
Yeah.
Six Nation says, I'm making pasta casserole and listening. It would be cool to have a Peter Gunn intro if YouTube wasn't so retarded. Then he's like, what's up, my ninjas? I love it.
So, TCG, how are we doing tonight?
Pretty good. As soon as I get my camera to actually work. Well, it's working now, but it took a second.
Yeah, it looks like I can see things and stuff, so that's a plus.
Yeah. I think I might have damaged the cord for it by accident.
Yeah, that happens.
You know, I love the IPVO, but mine is the only one I know of that's lasted more than 2 years. Everybody else I know that bought one, it's broken.
Hi,
I think I know.
Tonight?
I think I know what had happened. So if I get another one, I will not repeat that mistake.
They're pretty good for what they do. This miniature, quick miniature review, real quick. I forget which dragon this is by Reaper, but when you set this, you're going to need to augment it because it's really wanting to tilt forward the whole time, and it needs to sit up like such. I mean, it's up to you, but this is a 3.5 out of 5 or a 70 out of 100 for a miniature. And no, it's not finished yet, but I just thought I'd let you guys know since I've been working with it for the past few nights. It's not a bad fig. Someone to scare the players. That's all I need.
All right. Kai, how we doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Well, we all sound really enthusiastic tonight.
It's been a very long 8-9 days now. Social batteries are here. That I am president accounted for. I will do this. I will do this topic.
People points are low at the moment. Got it. All right.
For this bullshit.
And last but not least, Connell, how we doing tonight, bud?
I'm tired, but there's nothing new about that right now. I'm glad to see that you're back. It's been a little bit.
Yeah. Well, with Bruce going out, I will say I may and or may not have been guilt tripped into coming back. I'm just saying.
Did you find like a dead horse head in your bed the moment you think you're out? He keeps dragging you right back in.
There's no horse head, but we'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha.
Connell is going to lead us tonight here with this endeavor. So, Connell, if you want to go ahead and kick this off.
Yeah, I can do that tonight. As Baron said, we're going to be talking about spy and spycraft type gaming. So I personally have never been in a game. I'm hopefully the people in the panel have had a little bit more experience I have in it. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. I'm looking forward to it and see what's what. Baron, I think you were even nice enough to write down some questions. So we'll go with that. And here we go. Now, here's one of my own questions, though. I am going to stick to the script a little bit, but probably bounce off from time to time. So here's me bouncing off. Spies. I mean, is there like a spy movie, a spy book, a cartoon series that you would use just to even get into the idea of playing a spy game? Bruce, are you a fan of James Bond? I mean, real James Bond, Sean Connery James Bond.
I mean, I've watched almost all the Bonds before, all the Bond films, and I do like the films. I've not read Ian Fleming. I've read a lot of Ian Fleming like books, but I've never read the master himself. But as far as his movies are concerned, I really do like the Bond movies, but you have to put your head in the context of the Cold War of the 1960s to really get the most out of Connery and Lazenby's work. And it sucks that Lazenby just didn't understand what he was stepping into, and afterwards he was celebrating his exit. And there's more movies to make, George. Get back in there, and he didn't do that. And then later on they had that Never Say Never Again stuff with Sean Connery's return for a final movie. But as far as the espionage side of it, I love the intrigue. I like the fact that Bond always kept his cool, even when he was being tortured, like in the most recent Casino Royale film, which is the last Bond movie, in my opinion. The others that followed are not that good, I thought.
Okay.
What would you like to know?
I just what do you get from it? What part of the spy movies gets that particular engine going for you? Say, hey, I want to run a spy craft.
I think the majority of these of my aspect of running any sort of game, I think if you learn logistics as a GM, I think the rest of the game and storytelling is basically just a road trip trying to get there and get the players to recognize that, like, getting to your location is going to be 75% of your entire adventure. Once you're there, yeah, then things can come into play and other people can like do their special thing, but you've got to get to your location first. And that's the majority of the biggest problem in the Act 1 and 2 of all the Bond films is him actually getting to where he's supposed to be. And so he's got all these gadgets, all these things that are supposed to happen. Now he's got skis and he's going to go down this Appalachian or this Swiss Alps mountainside. If you learn logistics, if you learn how to craft obstacles just by sheer positioning, you're going to run a really good spy campaign, because the majority of the game is just getting to where you can be effective and do what you're supposed to do for whoever your patron is.
Right.
Otherwise, the game is basically, well, we're in a bar and the action is 1,500 miles away.
That's fair. All right. What about you, Baron? What movies, cartoons, books?
Well, actually, one thing that I really enjoyed, and then this is gonna take a few of you back, but is Kids Next Door. Just the whole the way that was all just set up, the way that the individual people fit into each other, and then as the story went along, figuring out who their parents were and everything else. And it's it's one of those things that it was, for me, it was more of a slow burn type cartoon. They had the kind of the monster of the week type deal, but it was still, the overall arc was a very, very slow burn, which I actually really enjoy, those type of games and campaigns and whatnot.
Gotcha. Yeah, the Kids Next Door. I remember that being on not Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network there for a while. It was an interesting show. Crafty?
Did you just call him crafty?
Yes, because he's
Okay.
crafting right now.
Don't let Crafty hear you say that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Spy for me, I never watched. I mean, I did watch a few Bonds, but when it comes to spy stuff, this really stands out to me. It's like, excuse me a second. It would be stuff that the spy kind of stuff that happens in once or twice in like an anime series of Gundam, for example. They almost every series has its version of the spy moment, where somebody has to do something to get intel secretly.
Okay. Do you have anyone precise movie book where there was really, I won't say, really showed off well?
I'd
ask more about Gundam, but to be honest, I'm not the guy to ask because I don't know that show very well. We need you bastard.
I will stay quiet on this topic. We have a 2-hour limit, and I need to sleep.
That you heard it somewhere down the future. We're going to have a show all about Gundam and how to use them in your RPG.
You'll be part of the panel, but the only two people talking is the crafting gamer, and Kai, and that's it.
This sounds like an easy next
one. I have one request for when this happens. You have to choose. Are we going to do the UC timeline or the AC timeline? This matters a lot for if this will be a 4-hour talk or a we're never stopping talk.
All right. I got you.
Given the knowledge you have, Kai, I think it'd be best to let you make that decision.
No. You're making the decision. I'm talking.
He's just the talk guy. He's not the decision guy.
That's
Fair.
right.
Would you say you have your top people on it?
Top men.
Right.
All right. What about you, Kai? Where do you get your spy and spycraft juices from when you decide you want to do something of that route?
I'm going to ignore the movies because I don't want to run. If I'm going to do a spy in espionage political intrigue game, I'm not going to go play shooty bang bang explosions.
Mm.
I'm going to go pull from the first four the first 4 books of the Tom Clancy universe.
Jack Ryan,
Hunt for Red
AKA
October, Patriot Games, Red Storm Rising, and Clear and Present Danger.
Also include Cardinal the Kremlin.
That was number 5.
In book form, it's number 2.
Well, yeah, in the chronological side, but in order of release,
Yes.
it was Hunt for Red October, Red Storm Rising, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, then Cardinal the Kremlin.
Yep.
And
Those
I
are the
remember
5.
that way too well. I don't know. Goddamn.
Yeah.
But
Those are the 5 books that if I'm going to go run a intrigue campaign, those are the ones I'm going to pull from because honestly, while I love Red Storm Rising, I stopped reading that book at I've read it so many times where I will stop reading it at approximately when the first bridge gets blown up. After that, I stopped reading. I don't care. At that point, it's the action shooty side of things, and I just go back and reread how many ways that I'm going to pull and make a bunch of smart people staring at photographs and television sets more interesting than a bunch of guys having tanks and bombers around. So that's where I'm looking at. I will also draw upon the many books of David Weber and the many books of John Ringo for just other examples, but I will pull from a lot of sources, mostly books, because Hollywood just makes everything way too actiony. Though if my players start going way too actiony, because players will do that, I will happily pull from not James Bond, but I'll pull from the Jason Bourne series, because I want the idea that if you want to go off the reservation, you're going to get hunted. I'm sorry. It's going to get bloody. It's going to get messy. And I want that. I don't want to have, well, I don't want Bond. I really don't want Bond. I love Bond movies. I don't want to run Bond.
Gotcha. No, that's fair. I mean, growing up, I got into the Jack Ryan novels as well. But I think the first thing ever drew me to the spycraft was the 1960 show Get Smart, with the Control battling the evil chaos. So yeah, I'm a dork. But yeah, no. Then you just got movies. Then you got Mission Impossible, the TV series. Then Tom Cruise kind of ran this. Anyways, when you can't act, you do Mission Impossible. I don't know what the answer there is, but no, I understand what everybody's saying, and I think I'm right there with Kai. I love a good spycraft novel over a book. I mean, a book over a movie, just because you could picture it a little bit easier. I could picture it a little bit easier in my head and follow it. Where with a TV show or a movie, I'm like, wait, what just happened? So now we're actually going to get into the questions, so I can make my boss happy. That guy over there. Okay. What is the political landscape? Define the geopolitical situation in your RPG game. What nations, factions, or organization are at odds? Okay. So when you're running one of these campaigns, what does it look like? Do you have one guy, one organization after another organization, or is it multi-geo where everybody's kind of taking little jabs at everybody, and it's your player's job to see where it's coming from and who's going to take a swing at them next? How would you do it, Bruce?
I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I need you to read Harry Turtledove.
Okay.
Okay. There was a book I read about 12 years ago, and he did a really cool World at War. It's called World War series, and it is a 8 alternate history science fiction fantasy. Oh, damn it! Nope, not that one. Turtledove's got a few different ones. Let's see. Kai, do you remember the one where he wrote about basically like a First World War set in a very magical world? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Where, like the Axis was feeding the Kraken with food and bribes, so it would go after the shipping lanes on the Allies side.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while since I read that one.
Yeah, I've. God damn it. Okay. Is it in the balance? No, I don't think it's in the balance.
It's not World War
Into the Darkness. Into the Darkness is what it's called.
Yes.
And it's a there's a magical land, and war breaks out a generation or two after the 6-year war, and so the countries that declare war on Algarve do so half-heartedly, allowing the Algarvians to use their reluctancy to advantage, and so they get in a real good position, and they start paying off various magical groups and getting the shipping lanes terrorized by the Kraken. They start paying the dragons in gold in order to get the drop on the Allies, and it's just an absolute shit show of force. But if you ever read Into the Darkness by Harry Turtledove, the first act of it does so much good setup and intrigue that whenever I get the chance to put something like that in a game, I will go around players to make sure that happens. What else do you want to know, Connell? Did we lose Connell? Did I lose?
Oh, you're muted.
Still here.
Sorry, I'm muted. No, I liked your answer. I'll definitely have to look into that turtle dove gentleman.
Harry Turtle Dove is going to be your best friend for the next 10 years.
Yes.
You
right.
just need to sit down with all of his books, and you're going to be somebody different when you turn 45, but you're going to be like, oh my god, I want to talk to you about a magical world at war. I want to talk to you about Earth with an alien invasion. I want to talk to you about a time traveler that goes back to the fucking Civil War with an AK-47. And
Yeah.
you're gonna come out of that bibliography that he did, and you're gonna be like, why the fuck didn't you tell me this shit before I turned 30? I could have been like somebody who actually could hold a conversation on Turtle Dove, and I would be able to just explain to you various movements, operations, and feints. And Turtle Dove, he's a big student of logistics as well. So whenever he does his war series, like you'll see like his troops and his mastery of land and terrain, and as he gets troops and plot, and he starts using logistics in that fashion. That's the main thing about intrigue. Intrigue is the ability to move your pieces of the chessboard while everybody thinks you're just passing. I'm not moving no pieces. I'm not moving no pieces. That's the entire game of intrigue, as far as I know it.
Yes.
And if you can convince other people you're not moving your pieces, that's amazing.
Okay. Well, next time I got some spare change, I'll go to Audible, which is one of my favorite places to go and look into them and get started.
Trust me, they're there.
All right.
Yeah.
I
I think they might be on YouTube actually.
Baron,
Yeah.
what do you use in your campaigns when you actually have the time and the energy to run for espionage games? What kind of political background things to use, as in the power base?
Well, I mean, typically it depends on what you're running. If you're running a fantasy, the power base is always going to be either the king or the kingdom or the fiefdom or whatever. Could be a baron that's out there, who's trying to keep everything down, quelling, things that were, coups and whatnot. But I mean, overall, the big thing is that when you set this up, you have to give a reason why the pieces are in place, and then you have to be able to move those pieces in accordance to, number one, how the story you see it developing, and number two is how with the players, how they use information that they gather. The biggest thing is and Colin, you've said that you've not played in a espionage game. I disagree. You have. You played in Kai's game. That was a high espionage game, even though we didn't do a lot of it.
Right.
It was.
Right.
If you look at Jade's Final Fantasy game that he ran for us, technically that would have been considered espionage because we were getting somebody out of the kingdom to safety. That would still fall. So the thing is that when you think about espionage, every fantasy game you've played has had an element of this, because you've talked to people, you've investigated things, you're gathering information. That's the thing with when you're looking at a spycraft or espionage, is it's more focused on the information you gather as opposed to what you do with the information. and when you're playing in like a regular like fantasy or even non-fantasy game, it's what you do with that information and who you're gathering it for that that filter out. So but the biggest thing is you need to look at each of the factions that you create within your game and how they interact with each other. That is the biggest thing. Is you as the GM get to sit down and say these are how they interact with each other. Oh well, these two guys are really good friends, but they're always gathering information about what each other's doing just for the simple fact of they're friends, but they're more frenemies than friends. But outwardly to everyone, oh, we're friends, we're great. And that's one way to definitely look at that.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. I have to rethink some of the games I've played in the past now that I put it that way. I'm sure Jade would run a great spycraft-ish game for us when he had the time. It was that Wrath of the Righteous would definitely have spy-ish feel to it from time to time.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking, the problem I might be having is I'm thinking like not so much you are a scout group going out trying to figure out what's going on and gathering information, which I can understand gathering information is aspect of it, but to me it's not the same. But I could definitely see your point in that your remark. Crafty Gamer.
Yes.
If you were going to do a spy campaign and the wonderful system that you're putting together, how would it be? Would it be a government trying to put down the pirates of the high seas? Would the pirates have their own little secret group that spies on said governments? How would you do it?
Well, that kind of depends on which area of the world you're in, because you have different governments in each one. But I'd probably try to play to more spy campaign strengths. Like, for example, I'd be, hey, this is more of a spy campaign. Don't play some of the more outlandish PCOs, such as the shipwright who can build these bizarre weapons, unless you intend to specifically build spy craft like stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
So for my game, spycraft isn't really heavily in there, but there is a character that can become a spy in domain play.
Gotcha. Well, all right, Kai. If you're running your campaign, which is, from my understanding, you only run for smart people, which is not me. And you're doing another type one shot like you did last year. How would you do the spycraftness in it? I mean, we all know that the current president's not the president. So how would we take care of that in a gathering information spy-like type of way?
That's a really hard question, honestly. I'm trying to think of how to best answer that one. Oh, I also have another. Who inspires me on how to run better, on how to run spy intrigue campaigns very well? This guy. This guy. I have the doll.
I still gotta get past the first season.
It gets so much better.
Connell,
better.
Sorry. Oh yeah, it does. But Connell, trust me, after you get to a certain point, your favorite saying will be, "And what do you want, you moon-faced assassin of joy?"
Wait.
I'll take your word on it. Anyways, back to.
I'm looking about this, about yay big ARs. I need to kill it before it develops language skills.
I mean, I know the character you're talking about. He always kind of reminds me of a few times I've seen him, tried to watch a show. He reminds me of like a Russian meets a a Russian meets a Ferengi that had love with a wolf for some odd reason.
In short, you're meeting him at his lowest point. And the thing here is that if I was to run a one-shot again, because honestly, as much as I would love to pick things back up with you guys, I'm back on the flagship, being chased by the entire by the rest of the Republican Navy. As I was in the middle of writing out a bunch of EMS messages that were all warnings, the things that would be transmitting back and forth in the clear because of the fact that the coup is currently happening. The central magical communication grid's down, so people are having to try to broadcast short burst messages in the open on radio, which means they have to be encoded, transmitted, and then try to be backwards and forwards. And then I realized I was starting to write out the amount of crazy crud that has to happen, because I know when the question said, do you do factions? This is one of the books that inspires me on how complex I write my my political interaction between the various nations in my world. So I have a fact book. I just can't hold the fact book cool in front of a camera, but I can hold the CIA fact book for the world. Yes, arrogance and stupidity in the same package. How efficient of you! Or remind me that, like, I'm going to hold my shoe up to your head and see if I can hear I hear the C. Yeah, he's full of quips and quotes. But the thing here is that part of me almost would like to run that one shot as the party of players who are nowhere near the flagship, near the president or anything, getting almost a my brain's malfunctioning on the movie theme. But which movie is it? Somebody help me. It's the movie detailing the submarine getting partial commands and having a nice little coup to see if they launch nukes or not.
The Hunt for Red October
Red
or Crimson
October?
Tide?
No, Crimson Tide. Running a Crimson Tide style scenario where you guys would be cut off from you weren't part of the initial coup. You're not inside with the coup. All you're getting is the flash messages from the various factions that are coming out. Here's the short messages, and then trying to decide as an isolated group, which side do you throw in on? Because obviously the coup is failing. It hasn't failed yet, but it's failing. So it would be almost pulling an Operation Valkyrie moment where there's chaos in the Capitol because there's things that were happening that were not detailed in the one shot, namely people being killed, people being arrested, but unfortunately, like Operation Valkyrie, Hitler survived. Oh shit, what do you do? Because that's what you guys did. Well, that's what Shadow did when he took the face of the president and said, I lived, bitches. And in essence, I lived, bitches, and then stole the flagship. And dealing with the fallout of that kind of event, it gives you a chance to choose action, choose inaction, choose the side as I drip feeding information in a vacuum, as in you don't know, you don't have anyone that you can go to tell. There's no one to tell you, or there is multiple people who are telling you, I'm the one in charge, listen to me. Do you listen to them? How would you listen to them? And that's how I would actually do that kind of an intrigue adventure.
That sounds incredibly fun.
I have been working on it for almost 6 months now.
The what if concept is always, I find, always kind of interesting, especially in spy novels.
Yeah.
All right. And I really, for me, I don't have much of an answer for this one. I guess with my fantasy type playing for my world, I would do the fake courts are just kind of spying on each other. And there's always that poor bastard somewhere in the middle that has to deal with both. I think it's probably the route I'd probably go. I don't know if that's much of an answer, but that's my answer. Or the middle or the youngest son who gets ignored by both of the parents. He's the one who tells the older brothers, "Okay, this is what mom and dad are up to." I'm reading the second question. Give me a hot second. Okay. In your campaign, Bruce, you have different factions in it, right?
Yeah, quite a few.
Quite a few. Now, how do these factions get their information in your campaign? Do you make the players do it, work for it, or do you have their own ways? And I know I'm in your campaign, so there's only so much you're willing to share, but share as much as you're willing to.
Well, in the Against the Giants campaign, there's actually like 7 major factions in it, and the party is one faction I'm classifying, but that's because they do have an agent or two that can be used to do whisper campaigns or to do clandestine stuff. You're not going to send Grog out for that, but maybe Cricket and somebody else, maybe Grimson will go with her because he can cast all sorts of stuff as well. But I would say that there's about 6 factions that are NPCs, and they do their best to try to influence the players a certain way. It doesn't always work, but like right now, I've got a plan where the party has just destroyed the fire giant enclave, and the storm giant Volstis is seeing what's going on, and he's trying to ramp up what he's doing. Unfortunately, the players find out that he's looking for a weapon, and the weapon is being built right now somewhere else, being like on the plains. And so that's what's going on with that campaign. The players will, if they want to make it to where Volstis can't use that weapon and he has to fight them without it, they have to go either destroy it or go find it themselves.
Gotcha.
But while that's going on, I've got, the hobgoblins doing their thing, and they're getting ready to move their pieces on the board. And then the giants are trying to get things in position for what they're doing. But they still, don't have all the strength they need to do what they'd like. See how it turns out.
Yeah, as a player, I'm not terribly, don't feel too bad as it's not able to get other issues out. Anyways, what about you, Baron? In your campaigns, who gathers the information? Is it the players, or is it the NPCs trying to sell it to the players?
It's a mix, just for the simple fact of sometimes they've got to go and try to figure it out themselves. Other times, it's handed to them on a silver platter. But then, when they're getting handed on the silver platter, they have to stop and think, is this going to be a reliable piece of information? So, yeah, it's one of those things where, especially if you're working with any type of espionage or things along those lines, you have to look at how the information, the credibility of it, because they can be fed whatever they can be fed. And I mean, to a point of, I know of a couple games out there where the patron was actually the big bad of the thing, and he was giving them all kinds of things to do that was setting him up to be able to take over. So, I mean, on that, they have to sit and look at the validity of the information coming in and then go from there.
Okay. All right. Crafty Gamer, back to you. How would you handle this? Pirates selling out other pirates, government selling it to pirates. How would you handle the trading and the gathering of intel?
Well, that partially depends on the player themselves, or the player group themselves, depending on how they want to gather. If they want to be, lack of a better term, lazy in their role play and just well, we earned a bunch of money in our last thing. Here, let's just buy a crap ton of information, then I'll let them. But otherwise, I'll try to encourage that they actually do some footwork, a little bit of role play, try to figure out the information themselves, especially if they have the marksman in their group who kind of gets in his description gets suggested he could probably do that.
Okay. I could see that. What about you, Kai?
Okay. So who's the party getting information from? Correct. That's the question, right?
Right. Where would you gather your information? Who would you? Yeah.
All right. This always comes down to what level of connections the players have. If the players are just guys on, a bunch of wandering nomads who walked into town and they are now part of something, yeah, whatever. They just go gather information like, most of us who are read newspaper, gather things. But I also have another thing that I draw upon a lot. This book. This book has 2 chapters in it that are magical. Utterly magical. What's that?
I'm going with you. Okay, utterly magical. I'm listening.
It's they detail 2 organizations known as Imperial Intelligence, also known as the Ubictorate, or the or Compnor, which has its own thing. These also have similar connections that if you understood how the KGB operated, the NKVD operated, the SS and the Gestapo operated, how the CIA operates, and how the FBI operates, and how every secret service an intelligence organization operates. And at that point, you get to figure out at what level of integration, interaction, and knowledge of what's going on does the players have access to. And that gives you the quality of information, because who knows, you might be somebody who has access to, because you've built up a good network of spies. You might have several editors of the Associated Press or Reuters on speed dial, because you want to get independent verification of a problem that's happening, but you don't want anyone else to know that you might have an idea. Because that's always the thing about this, is always, we as GMs, when we give out information, we tend to throw out, the brick of information. It's like, this is the obvious solution. Well, the thing is that players who are really into a good intrigue campaign, a good political espionage campaign, we're never given all the information. So the thing is that as a GM, you have to fire hose too much information at players. That's almost like the opposite of what we normally do. Normally we're just like, player, just make a roll, and here's the obvious clue. No, you need to fire hose data at them to the point where they have to decide what lead they want to go after. And they have to decide that, oh shit, there's just so much information. Okay, there's a fire. There's a fire. Okay, something's going on. This one person's like, okay, where you're starting to just build information, or the idea that the information you're getting is sketchy or faulty or false, because you got to look at who are you asking for information. You don't just go into town, scream, in the town square, roll diplomacy and scream, I don't know things, give me plot. And then the plot falls into your lap. Because if you go to the local bar and you gather information in the local bar, you're probably going to get the current news that's pissing off, say, the local pig farmers guild, or the beer brewers.
Porkers are going in at 7 3/4, whereas wheat is down 4.17 on the gold grain. However, there is a small bit. The Marzen prices are going up. Look out for those that are coming up for the coming up Oktoberfest. Now,
That's right.
The porkers going into cattle. Back to you.
Or the brewer is going, I'm having problem getting copper line recently, and at that point, hey, okay, so wheat's down, copper's hard to get, but that might not be the plot the party wants to get their hands on. But then again, you went to the local tavern to go ask for what's going on, and they're gonna bitch about local shit. You need to go out to where it actually matters. But if your GM fire hoses information at you way too much, and suddenly you might go, why is the local lord, putting on a remastered opera? Is that important? I think it might be, but how? And you start putting out too many pieces, and watch the players try to put together a picture. It may not be the right picture, but it's a picture. And the thing is that the bigger the access of material they have access to, the bigger a picture they get. But like all pictures, resolution is what it becomes harder and easier to get. So when my players go, I gather information, it's at that point the smart players go, okay, I need to focus my search into this area and into the resolution I need to get a general picture, and then I'll zoom into where I need to be. So I'll cast it over town. Major problem in town. Okay, this is zoom into the dockyards. Or if I need, who's the current shipping smuggling masters? Well, you instantly go to dockyards and longshore, in the Teamsters, longshoremen and Teamsters. Figure out what's going on with them, and then you work out from there. The problem is that you need as a GM at that point to be very, very skilled at being able to throw information that may be a red herring, but may not be a red herring. And hell, the red herring you throw might turn out to be a more interesting plot than your actual plot line. And that's the fun part about fire hosing. Boom. We're out to stop the assassination of the king, but we've also uncovered a horrible, horrible infiltration of our entire economic and banking system that the king may die, but we're going to have the collapse of the entire Western economic system. We should probably focus on that one. But the king, he can be replaced. The banking system cannot be. Excuse me. We need to go save the economy. And then watch the party go off on this thing. And with one player who's stupid and not following behind. But the king is expendable.
Okay. Expendable kings. I think they call that regicide.
I have something. I have an idea here, and I need to throw this out there. Kai, look up Raging Swan Press. Raging Swan Press, and fire off a email to Creighton and say, you don't have any books on news gossip that you could find in town. And then write up 400 pieces of information that you can fire hose with players. That way, whenever the player's like, I wrote a 37 gather information check, what do I know? You can give them all
sorts. There's a secret cabal of bankers and business moguls who are currently gathering outside town. They are doing something. No one knows. It's currently off limits. What do you do?
All right.
That you could do that. You could have a book where you have what you find or what you hear over here at the bar, or what you overhear at the church, or what you overhear at a thieves guild, or what you overhear at the hall for teamsters and traders, or what you hear at a dockside bar in the main room, and what you hear at a dockside bar in the back room. You could do that.
That would be hilariously fun. I would enjoy doing that one.
You should write that up and fire that off to Creighton Broadhurst, because he would buy it and he would make you published, my friend.
Help me with this after the stream. I would love to do this.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay.
Listen, boys and girls of all ages, it's not about your main hustle, it's about the side hustle. These two gentlemen just found a new side hustle because we're talking about this tonight.
It's the accidental hustle.
That is the best hustle. All right. When it comes to gathering information, I like brothels. Because it's always amazing what people say to the person who's entertaining them and such that they normally would not say outside of that situation. The concept of pillow talk. So if I hypothetically was running one of these games and one of the players came up to me, so I needed to gather information, my response is, where are you going to go? And he by chance say a brothel, I would probably give him, a little bit of bonus on the roll because that's, in my opinion, that's where you get, you get somewhat interesting information from. Or you don't torture somebody for information. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear just so you will stop. So as Kai says, using a fire hose of information, yeah, give them boxes full of information and let those poor bastards try to figure out what's what. Wait, we went through 15 boxes just to realize that he is going to the opera tonight. Yeah, but we didn't know that before. Okay. So, I like what I'm hearing.
Melissa Rabble, a playwright from downtown, says that she really wants to get a new hairstyle and is looking at the Lord Farquaad.
Okay.
Hey, now you discovered that there's actually might be a party coming up soon that you can probably sneak into, because obviously if this tart is dressing herself up to be all pretty and stuff, now there's a party. Now you can infiltrate. Now you can get close to the prince. Now you can fuck with them.
All right. Now, what secrets, technology, and other information are coveted by these parties? What would be the main stake? What is, I mean, in your campaign, is it blueprints for a new warship and Crafty's game? Is it information that the president is really no longer the president? It's the third cousin of his former roommate's second kid that you're not related to at all? I mean, what is the MacGuffin of the what they're looking for? And how important is it? I mean, I know that sounds like a dumb question, but is it a recipe for a tuna fish sandwich, or is it, actual national secrets? How much importance do you put onto it? Bruce?
Okay, we're talking about plot devices. The MacGuffin is the absolute most important thing that the players can keep control of in that ever critical third act.
Right.
So the third act should be very much in your game session. It should be the moments where the players are tenuously clinging a hold to that control factor. And if they cannot do so, they've got to be the masters of recovery. I would recommend for a MacGuffin, I would recommend a VIP portion of it where they have to guard a VIP. Or maybe worse yet, do a tower rush. If you understand what I mean, take a VIP and get them at this location despite all the activity going on, and make it to where the players are pulling everything out their ass. They're doing their absolute best to try to not be seen as they take Mr. VIP or Mrs. VIP through a harried location with about 7 to 10 different challenges. And we'll even throw in like 4 extra factions that are hostile to Super VIP. And if the players can do this, they earn 1 more set of keys to the warehouses at night. And if they don't, well, they might be chased out of town. But the MacGuffin, I like making the MacGuffin a person. That way it's interactive.
Right.
If you make it just an object, then it's just a boring ass. Oh, it's handcuffed to my wrist. Oh, what do I do with these nuclear codes? Oh, but if it's a person, now it's pretty interesting. Better yet, give that person like a vice or a addiction, and trying to keep them quiet and happy. You have a Jack Black in the middle of Tropic Thunder situation. You could have a very large, fun time with Jack Black demanding a box of Twinkies in the middle of Waterdeep. Shut the fuck up! We're trying to get to the fucking guild!
But I don't want. I want to.
And then every beggar that you ever suspected being part of the Thieves Guild gets revealed as part of the Thieves Guild. It's just a thought.
All right, Baron.
Or you could have a situation where all you're trying to do is sneak a donkey into a bachelor party, but when the donkey gets to the bachelor party is like laden with drugs until the donkey gets there, and the donkey finds all the drugs on the baby grand piano, and he snorts all the drugs, and then he has his heart explode. And now we have to figure out what to do with the donkey.
What parties have you been to?
Don't ask. Better if you don't know.
Fair.
Just remember, Kelly can be a girl's name too.
What was the question again before you ask?
Sorry, I'm gonna butcher it anyways, but I'll ask the question again. What's the motivation behind it? What is it in your campaign? Secrets, technology, information. What makes the players go out and try to find the info?
Well, see, that's the thing. Is it's different. It depends on what hooks are you throwing out there. Are you throwing out there it's a rebellion and they're trying to unseat the Lord of the area, or is it we have to stop we have to get the plans for the Death Star, something like that. It depends on what your campaign is and what you're looking to do. That's the big thing. Is it could be several different things too. It could be we need to get these plans in order to stop it, and then on top of it we have to get all this other stuff, information on how to use it, and that's the thing, is that with looking at how you set up the campaign will dictate on how you go about it. And the way to sit and say, I'm just gonna throw them out there and just see what sticks. Sometimes that works. Sometimes that doesn't work as well. So I mean, you just have to know. This is the thing. Get to know your players. What are they looking for? Are they going to be bored because they're looking after plans for this ungodly battle station? Are they going to be more interested in gathering information on how to take down the corrupt politicians that are setting up some kind of atrocity? It all depends on what you set up with your game, and you have to know your players. That's where that session 0 or even a one-to-one conversation with those players to get the expectations.
Know your players is always good advice. I don't really care what we're talking about, as long as we're talking about RPG. Knowing your players is some of the best advice you can get from anybody. Crafty Gamer.
Well, it'll really depend on, as Baron already said, on the players, but It also depends on what kind of game is being run. Like, for example, if I'm doing a more conventional type of game under my setup, it would be plans to a specialty ship or maybe the ultimate construct or something like that. But there's also times where I like running things slightly on the darker side with a little like Call of Cthulhu twist, in which case their target would actually be the still living brain of a high official or some sort of scientist. Not his body, just his brain in a jar.
Just his brain in a jar. Make sure you get the right
Nothing big, just a brain in a jar.
Just his brain. And make
We
sure
have a celebrity game designer in the chat right now, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Oh, hey there.
I've heard about this thing called heroic.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a 1-shot or 2-shot of it here pretty soon, Bear.
We talked about it earlier. We'll holler at you.
We have big plans, young man. Big plans.
Celebrity, what the huh? Yes, you.
maybe, Bear, do you like spy movies? If so, share some of your favorite spy movies in the chat. Because I'm sure as hell know what I'm talking about here. All right. So that was Crafty Gamer. What about you?
I'd like to talk to you about your extended car warranty, sir.
I don't know any of you.
This is not where I parked my car.
You like movies about gladiators?
Shirley. Don't call me Shirley, son. All right.
I believe Kai is up next on the.
Yeah, Kai's up
parade.
next.
I don't know. And which MacGuffin which MacGuffin campaign story am I running today? I've got at least 2 that I've enjoyed running in the past for Legend of the Five Rings. For those people who like playing Scorpion, if you really like intrigue and manipulation and espionage, play a Scorpion campaign. Look at all your other players and say, fuck every other clan. We're not playing any of them. We're going to go play a Scorpion campaign. We're going to be the most hated but most important group possible, because then you drop in their lap there's a prophecy. It's a bad one. And we need to uphold our actual job, our sworn duty to the Empire as the most hated and evil group to actually do our jobs. And that is to protect the Empire. From who? The Emperor. How do we do that? That's the hard part. And then you all and the whole time you're all operating under this horrible auspice of eventually, to save everyone, you have to betray everyone, because you know the prophecy and no one else can know. And therefore you must do the most terrible thing possible and accept punishment for doing it, because it's the right thing to do. Or you can play the other L5R intrigue plot line, which is the Kolot, which is, we hate the gods. We hate the celestial order. Mankind should rule the world, not the divine. And therefore, but don't worry, every single clan operates under the divine mandate. The gods operate under the divine mandate. The Emperor operates under this. We want to overthrow the entire social order. We cannot ever let anyone know we're doing this. So how do we do this? By slow, horrible, meticulous work. You're playing a normal campaign, but don't worry. One player in your group could possibly be a Kolot. You'll never know. The Kolot player probably won't even know. Or everyone's in on it. And at that point, you're running 2 campaigns. The campaign that everyone else gets to see, and the campaign you're playing in secret. And that's really what for me, it's like, for me, the MacGuffin is always knowledge. Like, it's the knowledge that you're doing things that nobody else should. Sure, being a bodyguard, that's low-level peon work. Hunt down a rogue agent, low-level peon work. Run run some scam, again, low-level peon work. Secretly run an entire shadow government in the background with his own shadow economy and news system and you're part of this monstrous organization, and you have no idea where you're at in it. You have no idea the scale that you're part of it. You may think you're important, but you're expendable. Everyone's expendable. Just got to keep reminding yourself that. Everyone's an expendable asset, even you. Even the guy in charge is ultimately expendable because the job is more important than any one individual person. And that might mean every once in a while, you get to shoot your boss or your boss shoots you. But don't worry, everyone understands it because they're believers in the cause. And if anyone becomes an unbeliever, they go on the reservation and you shoot them repeatedly and either make them vanish or make a spectacle out of it. Either or, enjoy it. And who do you really work for? You don't know, or do you? And that's the fun part. And it's like, I know the MacGuffin, the problem with any one MacGuffin is that the MacGuffin goes away eventually. The Ark is recovered. The Holy Grail is lost in a rock. You blow up a small town in Maine, and it's of mild importance. A destroyer magically appears in the harbor and then disappears a week later. Don't worry about it. The MacGuffin got away. It's okay. It's okay. Just keep doing the job. Weird shit keeps happening. Just do the job. Every once in a while, you may get an order that says shoot a dude, and frame a guy, 3 blocks over. Just do the job. Don't question it. It's just knowledge that you're doing the job that has to get done. And that might mean driving a nuclear submarine into an inlet where nobody will see it again. You just do your job. Enjoy.
I want to go back to shooting my boss. I don't have one per se. It seems to be a fun topic amongst certain groups.
Hey, if the job, to get the job done, to save the world, to save the country, to buy another week for the lurching dying machine that is the government that you serve, to continue lurching forward for just 1 or 2 more days, involves shooting your boss. Shoot your boss. Just do it.
I want to say thank you, you two, for having us as long as you did. You will now find this on some other platform that says it's okay to shoot your boss.
Disclaimer: it is not okay to shoot your boss in real life. This is entirely a fictional scenario that we're playing in Minecraft. Go fuck yourself, okay? Disclaimer done.
Yeah, Burnos. That was actually a fun that was a fun show. Bear actually brought up a couple different movies. At least, yeah, Cloak and Dagger, Sneakers, Burnos. Those were fun.
Great ones.
Really fun. And Burnos had the great and awesome Bruce Campbell in it, so it's kind of hard for me to be mad at that. Okay, I'm going to go off the script again. Now, when you got your players, and what your everybody at the table has more or less agreed to do a spy-ish type show. The question is, how do you get started? How do you get that particular ball going? Are they all kind of doing their own thing, and they get a message that self-destructs in 30 seconds? How do you get that ball rolling? Bruce?
Usually I let them try to discover something at the start of an adventure or a story arc where you have a situation at the start of No Country for Old Men. And so the players would come across a body that obviously doesn't belong where it's at, but they keep doing an investigation. What's going on here? Why is this 40 miles or 40 meters away? What's all these spent casings, or what's all these arrows with magical harvesting? marks on them. What's all this? And let the players just unfurl it themselves. Let the environment do the storytelling for you. Be lazy. And
okay. I had not opposed to that thought processing, being lazy. All right.
I love being lazy, but my thing is that whenever I would do this, the best way I would want to do it is like, okay, well, you come across this little canyon on your property, and you've got some corpses that are out there. It looks like a dead wyvern, maybe a dead cardinal from the Brotherhood, and a dead anti-paladin. But then as the players are positioning their characters and as they move towards each one, I'm secretly rolling perception checks and figuring out like who sees what, who smells what, and just give them that information and start vomiting information at them, like what Kai was saying earlier with the fire hose, and let them see all the cuts and scrapes and spilled blood that's there, and let them figure it out.
Yeah, that makes a great deal. I said that earlier. That makes a great deal of sense.
But I like using the miniatures for that, because as the miniatures get close to certain areas, like they can start seeing a little better. The perception checks get easier, so they get a chance to actually like get some detailed information on this.
All right. Baron?
What was the question again?
When you got a table full of players and they all agree that they're willing to go down this particular thought processing, how do you get the ball rolling? How do you set up the first clue mission? Do you do a Mission Impossible scenario where they all get different letters or scrolls and self destroy within 30 seconds? How do you get the ball rolling?
See, what I tend to enjoy doing is after they have their first little clash or whatever with something bigger than, let's say a goblin or, a kobold, or even with the kobolds, that works too. They happen to find something in their little horde of, oh, well, this guy was maybe a knight of the realm, and he has a ring. They find a ring, and there's also a scroll with it. Goblins and kobolds don't read scrolls. They take the ring.
Writing. Don't read it. It'll suck your soul. Suck your soul.
Exactly. So and that is a good way, especially like a Dead Knight report, something along those lines, where they just stumble upon it, and then for that just starts that ball rolling, because then I've also found that with a kobold, you can they like the shiny stuff just as much, but they've got that dragon-esque type mentality of, no, this is my hoard, it's mine, my precious, that type of thing. So I mean, the big thing is that it also, with them finding this, it's going to pique their interest of, I wonder what's going on here. And usually you can get the buy-in from them pretty quick.
Okay. All right, I get that. Kobolds and gobos. So we're talking like the first few levels. I mean,
oh yeah,
we're talking
early
in the game. Okay.
When you do this, you've got to play the long game, and if you start it early, they can start to really get down and start digging into it. And it may come a point where they have to go, oh, I need to, this is a little bit bigger than me. I'm going to step back, but then, it's something that maybe they'll come back to, or, maybe something that's, definitely within their realm of being able to not necessarily handle, but they can get people who can handle it on board with them. Maybe go to a local lord or the king or whomever, and get them to give aid. Go, hey, we've got this nice report. This is his nightly sealed ring to verify that yes, this came from a legit place.
Okay.
Bear has a question. What's a cobalt? It's
Car.
cobalt.
Tools.
Typically,
Yeah.
they're blue. The ones I buy are blue.
Happy.
Well, it was
Happy
a Flash villain, Cobalt Blue. For those who like to run stories and games through a comic book, superhero themed game.
He's just giving me crap because I'll sit in his chat from time to time and just start spouting nonsense. So I've come to accept it now. Okay.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
All right. Okay, so what about you, Crafty Gamer? How do you get that particular ball running in your campaign?
Well, that can depend on two things. One, how am I going to get the player's interest? And two, kind of what I'm feeling like at that particular moment. Like if I was going to put up that kind of campaign or put up that just as a one-shot adventure, what I'll do is have someone come up to the players, maybe shady, maybe not. But and if and then if I think the players are going to just go for it, like they're going to be really interested, then I'll just like, hey, we have a job for you. This is how much it pays. Do this for us. And I've only done this once because I was on a time schedule. 1 second. Let me fit it. Which was the crap. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, which was the blackmailing of players' characters so that they had to do it. That's because I was on a time crunch. All right, excuse me a second.
Okay, Kai.
Honestly, the thing is that you don't ever really just have the whole party signing on at once because no one's just brought in all at the same time. It should be literally from adventure one that you're putting in the plot hooks of what's going to happen. So I'm going to agree with what Baron said. Is this simply there should be the little tests quietly being done to get you ready to be recruited, because honestly, unless the players do a legitimate amazing super moment where you get to have a Men in Black session where somebody shows up and goes, hi, I want to talk to you. Hey, you 4 people, you 4 to 8 people, I need to talk to you about some stuff. And then you take them off and, on the magic cart, the magic wagon ride where they all pass out and wake up in an undisclosed location. And like, good. Got to see you're all awake. I need to talk to you about the fact that you're about to be potentially recruited into a wonderful secret organization that will do super secret spy squirrel stuff. That, I'm sorry, Men in Black doesn't happen. And where you leave that little caveat of, and if you fail in any of these tests, we will shoot you and dump your body, unceremoniously in a river where no one will ever find you again. And everyone, oh shit! You don't do that. No, you slowly work players into it. Some players don't realize that they're working for a super secret shadow organization that's here to protect your way of life without you realizing it. While the 1 or 2 players who are smart, capable, understand what's going on and and can count to 4 are the ones who are recruited into the lowest ranks, and then they slowly manipulate the rest. And if you got the 2 smart players, you go, oh shit, we're part of a grand conspiracy, aren't we? Yes. But you could feed the information to those 2, and then those 2 look at each other and go, do we tell our handlers? And how do we tell the rest of the party about the fact that we know what's going on? At which point, eventually it's going to come down to, 5, 6, 10 sessions down the road where you put them into a situation where they have to go, hey guys, I want to come clean about this. We're about to go do something really, really stupid, and we've actually been on the payroll for a good/bad thing. Could I negotiable on if it's actually look? They're paying us. We're gonna go do it. Who do we work for? Not a question. Don't ask. Don't ask. We're gonna go do it now. Okay. Can we question it later? Maybe. Okay. You have a fun reveal moment because, because honestly, how often are you going to see an entire elite shock strike team of super secret spies? No. You're going to get that one guy who is super secret spy Squirrel and his group of buddies who he will always call, the guy who flies the airplane or airship, the guy who's a good mechanic, the guy who's, what job do you really do? I like guns. I like lots of guns, the biggest guns possible, and I'm an excellent smith at them. I need you. I knew you did, sir. And what else do you do? I blow shit up. Fantastic. And
of course you have the guy.
What was that?
I was going to say, and of course you have the guy. What do you do? If I told you, I would give you nightmares.
Right, but you have them, and like I said, one player is the one who's fully read in, the one who knows what's going on. Maybe, like everything every definitive is actually a maybe, or actually not. But you have one player who's got a good grasp, and maybe they work themselves up, and maybe they bring the rest of the party in. But there's no way in hell I'm going to drop everybody, into Session 1. Welcome to MIB Boot Camp, and today, we're going to show you all the terrors of the universe and prepare you for the unless we're playing Delta Green. But at that point, I assume you've already done 10 to 20 years of miserable, horrible work for whatever department you're part of, and that you're just being activated to go do this job, because Cthulhu really needs to get reminded that his day pass hasn't been authorized yet. He needs to go back into the water. And you need to remind him of his job. By all means, he can't come out of the water for 15 more years. Go back into the water, sir. We haven't authorized your day pass yet. No, excuse me. Hey, Bob, start shooting. And it's like remind him of why he stays in the water. Will do, sir. Will do. And things happen, and it's fun. But so unless I'm running Delta Green, no, you're not all read in. You're not all part of it. I've been building you up since session episode 1, and no, I didn't tell you. One of you figured it out. One of you asked the right question to the right person, and responded right when they asked you the counter question, and because you were smart. The rest of you, I'm sorry, are not that smart. You're just here for the ride, and when things go wrong, here's your loot, here's your explosives, and go make someone into a nice fine red mist. That's all I need. And yeah.
All right. There was this movie, and the reason I'm bringing this up, there was this movie that came out years ago where this guy was on the airplane and he got mistaken as a spy. And he was on a class trip to somewhere, and like to Europe, and the whole thing just went sideways on him. It wanted to be a James Bond meets a high school field trip type movie. And so when I think of doing spy-ish type games. Yeah, I did say that right. Fuck. It always makes me think of that. It's like, do I tell them that everybody in this party just kind of knows each other, and it just something happens, and one of them gets mistaken as being somebody else and just goes off the cliff there, or do I do what Baron does and slowly just like they find a note about a possible, cult octopus type creature that wants to take over the world, and they take it from there, or multiple different factions. So you guys' answers have definitely given me a lot to think about when it comes to how to start it, start the game. Now I'm going to be, after the show, going to be trying to figure out what the hell that movie was, because that's going to drive me slightly crazy. And yes, Kingsman is a really good movie.
Actually, the first and the third one are really good, I thought.
You didn't like the second one?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, wow. How we briefly talked about this earlier, about where they get their information from, it being through allies, rivals with their own hidden agendas. How do you run the campaign knowing that the players knowing that they can't trust 9 out of 10 things that they hear and keep the game going? I mean, there's the I'll take that thought with a grain of salt type comment. So how do you keep the facts and the red herrings going and have the game actually continue going in a good way instead of just blowing up Station 2? Bruce?
I try to take good notes. I really try to take good notes. I can't stress that enough. In lieu of good notes, then what I'll do is I'll go back and watch the video replay of what we did on our stream together. And I would say that if you have a YouTube channel, go ahead and stream it. Even if you guys say no words, just go ahead and stream it. The worst you're going to do is make somebody else feel like, hey, I have thoughts like that. I say no words. There's people out there like me. Cool. That's awesome.
Okay. So is that okay? Baron?
Okay. The question, I apologize.
That's fine. It's probably me screwing up. Is what it is.
No, it's been a while since I've been on a panel, so my attention kind of goes squirrel right now. So I apologize.
All right. The question is how do you keep the players at the table with the concept that 9 out of 10 things they're going to hear is probably false, and they only have a little bit of information they can actually trust that comes from allies or other sources? How do you keep them actually planted into the campaign without the campaign blowing up?
Well, it's really easy. Is that you make sure that you're feeding them equal amounts, if not a little bit more, of factual information than incorrect information. For the simple fact of, if they're sitting here fact checking things like this, they may not fact check everything going forward. And at that point, that's when the real fun begins. Then they're like, oh crap, we should have double checked that. And that now they get into a point of, you know what, screw this. We're tired of being screwed with by XYZ organization. We're going to take the fight to them. I've seen that so many times of where, they get set up, it goes bad, they've gotten burned, and they just turn around and say, you know what, I'm done with this. Let's go. And that is the biggest way of keeping them in is by getting additional hooks. The game itself, even if it is a kind of a spycraft espionage type game, you've got to throw other elements into it. That's the big thing, because if you don't, there are going to be some players that are like, yeah, I just, if you're playing let's say a more modern, I just want to sit up in that bell tower and you tell me when the target comes in and he goes bye-bye. Then and that's literally all they want to do. They want to be in that part of the plane because that is what their character or what, as a player, what they care about for their character. So, and that, you've got to give them those different type of situations in order to go. Wow, I didn't think my answer was that bad that he had to leave. I didn't even touch it. I didn't touch it.
I know.
Hands are here.
No, it wasn't me. I think the tweaker net got him.
Yeah, his internet may have gone. So, all right, Kai.
Yes.
Hold on.
How do I keep people engaged?
It.
Honestly, it's because
that. Oops. I was still in a Discord chat and somebody just left. I'm like, wait, what's that noise? Why did that go off? Okay.
No, honestly, the answer to that one for me is really easy. It's just simply the fact that I don't make. I have like one player who I think if I was to run an entire, Jack Ryan level of all we're gonna do is push paperwork and have one shootout in the entire campaign would be happy. I know I would be that way, but I know most of my players aren't. So honestly, like what you said, Baron, it's just simply interspersing action. I know I don't like shoot 'em up, bang bang, James Bond level shit, but honestly, players are there for shoot 'em up, bang bang bullshit. So unless they're all being super duper cheesy and tricky and stuff, at which point we're playing Ocean's 11.
I would love an Ocean 11 type game. That would be amazing.
Okay, would you be able to stay focused and do your job creatively enough, and then handle complications without resorting to I arm and then detonate a nuclear device?
Are you asking me as a player or as me as a person?
Yes, as you. If I was to do this, would you be able to do whatever the cool job that you're supposed to do without throwing two bags of holding into each other to solve a problem?
Yeah. By the way, that wasn't me. That was great. But yeah,
I understand. But you were there. You could have stopped it.
Yeah,
No,
I wanted to see what. I could actually.
Now, here's the key part. If I gave you access to that nuclear device, would you be able to resist using it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Then yes. Okay. Because that's part of this thing, is that part of the fun is giving players way too much access to way too much equipment and material. And then telling them, show a hair of control. I'm about to give you access to Q's laboratory. Can you only grab what you need? Not everything, and then mug three guys on the way out for what they've got. Players don't tend to or you let them walk out with the entire inventory somehow strapped to them and then go, please use it. I want to see you catastrophically fail. I don't want you to, when I'm doing an intrigue campaign, I want you to succeed, but I even more want you to fail. Not because of anything I did, but because of what you did. I gave you a wrist-mounted rocket launcher nuclear device death laser. I want you to use it. Is it the optimal choice? No, it's never the optimal choice. But you did blow up an entire train in the middle of town. There's going to be consequences. but I want to see what the players do when I give them access to. You have the ability to call in. You're working for the Inquisition. Of course, you have the ability to, at Lord Inquisitor, to go call in whatever assets you want. But now you got to explain to the local, Imperial Guard General, why did you call, 50 Baneblades in to go blow the fuck out of that city block? Now you gotta answer questions from people who.
There was a drow, sir.
It was a drow. At which point the Imperial General is going, "What the fuck? Why was a drow there? Why did you need 100 tanks to take care of it?"
If it was a drider.
Right. Questions were asked. Mistakes were made. I'm sorry. That is not going to fly because you always have someone higher up that's going to go and beat you senseless, and therefore my players are having fun because they get to sit there and go, should I? I have the radio. I have the Forward Observer radio communication codes for a carrier battle group. I could use it. I could call in enough death to level to turn this area into a moon. I don't model the moon. Do I? Hey guys, we should probably be a little smarter. Why? The GM gave us an entire carrier to use. We should probably not use it. But we have one. I know, but we shouldn't. We really shouldn't. And that's the fun part, is watching my players juggle far too much firepower and being told, now this is a stealth mission.
Sir, I blew up the moon because there was a xenomorph down there.
That one's understandable, but then just remember, you will be shot in your sleep by the Weyland-Yutani android that's in your crew. There's always one in the crew, and he will shoot you. Because you blew up company assets.
That's fair. Sir, I blew up the moon because there was a furry on it.
The Ordo Xenos will understand that it was important to eradicate that furry. That was a valid use of that exterminatus device. 10 billion must die because one fursuiter was caught down there.
I was thinking about the kids, your sir. But no, I get it. I'm big. I also agree that I think if you're running a game like this at all, I think the maturity level at the table for your players can't just be are there girls in there? Yes. Can I do them?
Bond argues with you at this point.
Well, Bond
player goes, are there girls in there? Yes. I want to sleep with them. I want the hottest one. One moment. Let me roll a die. What is my fetish this movie? The blonde. The natural blonde. I don't want the bottle blonde. I want the natural blonde. You mean the blonde or the strawberry blonde? Strawberry blonde. You girl with strawberry blonde. You are my current. You will be my love affair for this movie, and you will die at the end of it, as befits all of my conquests. But I will love you as you die in my arms.
I'd like to say goodbye to 6 Nations, 31 Kings. We'll see you on the replay, sir. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Yeah, I like to say that.
But yes, you do need a slight higher maturity level than crayon munching Mountain Dew addict.
Sorry, Greg, you cannot play. Love you, Greg.
I demand at least a coffee drink. You to be at least coffee drinking maturity level.
Damn it! I don't like coffee, but my 13-year-old daughter does. Shit.
Tea is an acceptable alternative.
Okay.
Yorkshire tea.
Of course, it's the best and only one you need, for it is of truth.
Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Spiffing Brit lately, so when you said tea, it immediately went into my brain.
Well, yes, all good empires are based around tea, around Yorkshire tea.
Good God, man.
That's right.
Sorry, my internet shut down on me. That's why I disappeared there for a quick second. Thanks for saving my bacon. Whoever took up.
No problem. So the last one to go on this would be the crafting. Wait, yeah, TCG. Or did he already go? Yeah, he already went. Never mind.
Okay.
So I think that is going to be it for tonight. We're getting to that point where Kai is going to turn into a pumpkin.
Yes, we are.
I say that. Did you guys want to continue this discussion next week?
We could.
We could, but I'd ask for a different person to ask the questions. My head's still just not quite right yet, and I apologize for that.
It's okay, no problem. Well, wait, hold on. Has your head ever been quite right?
Yes, there's just
There's a 99.9% chance that was a lie.
no. As of right now, with the not completely getting into it, but the mess I'm in, it's like having a wet blanket on my brain most of the time, and it makes life a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
But with that being said, I do appreciate you guys' answers to these questions. Baron, thank you for writing good questions down. Sorry if I murdered them. But no, this gave me some stuff to look at for when I decide to run a spy campaign. And if I do, I'll just give Kai a notebook, pencil, maybe a month's worth of coffee, and just have him write it out for me. So.
We're actually gonna get him hooked on something a little harder, but don't tell him that the CIA and the Coast Guard are gonna help me on this.
Oh,
wait, is he moving to Pekin? His meth is half a diet plan.
It's perfect. That's perfect.
I have like 30 some odd pictures right now on my for the background, but we mentioned tea, so I had to go put the right one up.
Yeah, he had to go grab Spiff there.
That's right.
Yorkshire tea.
Are
you gonna go play Skyrim later?
Oh gosh, yes. Permanently, man.
God, man, me playing Skyrim later on. Of course I am.
This is absolutely no 100% perfectly balanced game. No exploits, no flaws. We're having fun.
I wish that game was good.
So I want to break something up really quickly for those who are local to my area. There are in the Peoria area that watches us. On May 4th in Peoria Heights, there is a cigar lounge I'm going to, and they're hosting an event called a Steak at the Park, where you go there, you'll be able to smoke cigars, and it will be at the same time a find your new forever friend home. There will be dogs for puppies looking for new homes. So it's going to be of that situation. So if you wish to join us and you're in the area and you enjoy cigars and helping dogs, it's going to be a fun event for everybody.
Where's my chainsaw?
I'm tired.
All right. So, Bruce, what you got coming up this week?
Well, on Saturday, we're going to try to do a game without Chris. He's trying to he's at a Ren fair, and unless the rest of the party is like, without Chris we can't function, then I'll be like, fine, let's go. But he's gonna be at a Ren fair. He's already given me orders for his characters, what they're doing, and I've got a party doing a plane hop, an adventure that will take them somewhere else. While he's doing his thing, they go do something else. It's a thought. It's a hope. I'd like to see the party function without a player. I don't have any problem with Chris, but last time he was running late, the party drug their feet for 4 hours before he arrived. I'm sorry. Like, you're supposed to be here already. I'm not nearly as bad as Max, but I was really frustrated with, like, you delayed my game for fucking 4 hours. Didn't like that at all. But anyway, that's where my head's at. We're gonna have that on Saturday. Hopefully everybody shows up. Hopefully we get a chance to play. I want to play. Then Monday of next week, we are reviewing the movie we watched Sunday night, which will be The Full Monty from 1997. And
No way.
yeah,
Oh my god.
That had to have been a Janet pick.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
how did you guess? Followed up by Magic Mike and Magic Mike XXL.
Magic Mike in Scotland. That's really what it was.
Guilt. Janet is having some sort of guilt festival movie celebration. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. No, she hasn't done that yet. We're watching the Full Monty. We're gonna watch this and discuss it Monday night. Tuesday of next week is going to be a buy night with Nick Weiser, and then Saturday of next week we're going to continue the exciting adventures of the Alpha group testing through Stoneholm and see what Lord Strawn has for the players.
I think Janet would do amazing in an evil campaign. And the reason why I say that is every time we run up against something new, people, she wants to either kill them or enslave them.
You know, she's never read R.A. Salvatore, but I think she would probably like his first 6 or 7 books.
She'd be an excellent drow. That's all I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, sir.
Yeah.
Is this Janet? Like our Janet?
Sweet
Her
little
sweet, innocent Janet?
Dirty fun Janet? Yes.
Wait, so I could run a Menzo campaign around her and actually have a real drow matron as an actual.
Oh God.
I think it would come natural to her, unfortunately.
I think it is. I think it's really natural, especially with all the shit going on in her private life. She needs an outlet for these evil thoughts. Just a thought. You guys have her Discord information. Do with it what you will.
Just tell her she can be a drow matron, a leader of a house.
No idea what that is.
She'll enjoy it.
Tell her
she's in charge because she's a woman and therefore in charge.
Just tell her to watch my mind just farted. I had him right at the tip of my tongue too.
Wait, if your brain just farted, hold on. If your brain just farted and it was the tip of your tongue, or it's in your mouth with the asshole.
That's just something nasty.
I'll just take myself to time out.
I'd like to thank Clancy for not following me to work today. Thank you, sir. Stay in your van.
All right, Connell, what do you got coming up this weekend?
Well, of course, I got Bruce's game, which I'm looking forward to see how that pans out. I enjoy his games. Then Sunday, we are doing the 2020 Dune remake of the Dune movie, part 1. It was unannounced pick, and we decided to run with it. So I look forward to talking about it and the multiple issues why it. Anyways, we'll talk about it on Sunday.
Alrighty. Hi, is this an off week for your musings?
I don't know. Is it an off week? I'm not sure anymore. It all blends together.
This week will be an off week.
Okay.
Well, unless Bruce's folks, don't show up, and then it may be an earlier show with you.
Wait,
Huh?
Bruce, your parents are showing up?
No,
Gamers.
if the game doesn't go, then he
yeah.
may call. They'll call Kai and go. We're going to do this.
I am
I'll
off at.
be like,
I
crap.
crawl home at 3:30. That's when I get in the door.
All right, and TCG, what do you got coming up this week?
This Saturday, I have a Robotech talking about the Zentradi in the RDF.
Right, and myself, I the past few nights have been getting back into the streaming on Twitch. It's Baron G Rock, all one word. I've been playing Timberborn, so I've been playing with my beavers online, and yeah, been pretty good reception to that. So I may actually here about an hour or two, I may actually fire that up and go a little bit. So make sure you do check that out. But I think that's all we have. Bruce, take us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of our evening tonight. This is Tablebreakers. Please subscribe to Connell the Scar DM, Chimerian and his wonderful ramblings, Baron G Rock, and the Crafting Gamer. For this evening, we are out of the auditorium, and we bid you all a very fond farewell.